I've been involved in Access in one capacity or another for about 20 years. My contact with Access was as a result of me being a domestic violence prosecutor. I had worked in Marshall County as a DV prosecutor and then had taken a job clerking down in Des Moines, and I missed the victim contact that I had established and working with advocates over in Marshalltown. So I started volunteering. I worked as a volunteer, I think for about a year. It's been 20, so don't quote me on the months or the days. And then I got hired at the Story County Attorney's Office as a domestic violence prosecutor, and eventually I wound up being the first assistant, and I handled all the sex abuse cases for Story County during that time, or the majority of them. And so I, again, got a chance to work with Access in a different capacity. Obviously, I could no longer volunteer, but I worked with advocates for my entire career at Story County, and I couldn't have done my job without them. Not only were they incredible human beings, a lot of them became really good friends. And I can't even tell you the countless number of cases that we would not have been successful on. And I don't just mean convictions, I mean successful in that people were made whole because of the work of the advocates. The other thing is that when you prosecute cases, you become involved. They touch your lives. But at the end of the day, victims are witnesses in your cases, and you can't be there 24/7 for them, whereas advocacy was, and that was always a relief to me, because I could say Access is going to be there at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Access is there, so if you have a problem at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can call the hotline. The deposition process and the criminal process, most people don't understand what that is. It's an opportunity for a defense attorney to discover the state's case against their client. But what people don't realize is a lot of times that can be done in the jail, where the perpetrator is sitting across from a victim as their defense attorney is asking questions. It's very, very intimidating process. It's a process that society doesn't see, jurors don't see, there's no judge there, and it's all taken down by a court reporter, so you can't see the interaction between people. And Access was an incredible buffer for us. Access under the law is allowed to be there with the victim. So that was somebody in that victim's corner when we were going through these depositions, talking about the hardest thing that's probably ever happened to you in your life, and you had a lifesaver sitting there with you going through it. So when I think of Access, I just think of them as a lifesaver.